I'm going to tell you guys 3 reasons why your Royal Python never sheds perfectly and how you can rectify it. Welcome back to Northern Exotics. We're a reptile YouTube channel that talks all things reptile related, whether it be Royal Pythons, Bull Python, Boa Constrictors, Savannah Monitors, absolutely everything reptile related. If that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. So in this video we're talking about Royal Pythons. Over in America, you guys call these Bull Pythons, but we're talking on how you can help these shed. Have you ever had a Royal Python that just doesn't shed right? It sheds off in little pieces, little bits and bobs. You get little stuck eye caps on them every time they do shed. If you've had that, then this video is definitely for you. We're going to talk the 3 things with why they don't shed properly and how you can make it so they do. Biggest problem that everybody does, the one I see most often, is humidity. So Royal Pythons, they need a little bit more humidity in the wild to actually shed off perfectly fine. Hey, she's going down here now. There she is. They need a little bit more humidity. So in the wild, they would go into little burrows and stuff like that, somewhere where they just get that little bit more humidity, and that always helps them shed. Not only that, but inside all the little burrows, they can rub up against things and all that sort of stuff. So what you want to do is, when you see your Royal Python go into a stage called blue, that's when their eyes have gone a bit blue. Come on, girl. She's 9 years old. That's when their eyes have gone blue, their whole body's gone a little bit opaque. Start adding a little bit more humidity into the actual enclosure. Now there's various ways you can do that. You can do that through simply grabbing a spray bottle of water and just a gentle spray over the whole enclosure. You'd only need to do it once or twice throughout the week that they are actually in shed, and that will help them go off perfectly. Second one, now I see this one all the time, especially for those people that keep their Bull Pythons in racks and rubs and stuff like that. They need to rub up against something to start that process, to start the shed process. It's sort of, sometimes they can open their mouth really wide and that'll detach the shed from their actual body. They need something to rub up against to make it that little bit more easier for them. Oh, she's going. I kicked the camera. Yeah, they need that little bit of stuff to rub up against. Now you can use absolutely anything, whether it be a hide. You can use these Exoterra hides. Now they'll just rub up against the sides. Even inside, they'll rub up against the doorway. Hey, oh, where's she going now? You can even use water bowls. These Exoterra water bowls are absolutely amazing, and they're dead rocky, so they can rub up against that as well and just start the process of them shedding. Once they've started the process and got the shed just past their face, they can use their own body muscles to sort of squeeze out of it and just keep going and going and going. And that is a great way, but they need some way to start it. In a rub or a rack system or anything like that, they've not really got anything except for the smooth sides of the actual tub. So it's definitely worth having something in there just to help. It can just be simply a rock that you put in. Make sure it's a little bit heavy, it's got some sort of substance to it so they can rub up against it and the rock won't slide just randomly out the way. But they do need something just to start it off. In the wild, again, they'll go into burrows, they'll rub up against trees, they'll rub up under foliage, they'll do all that sort of stuff. So try and replicate that. The second you see them going into blue, again with the blue on the eyes, the opaque body, then you can start adding a little bit more humidity. Add something for them to rub up against if you've not got anything in there already. And again, they should have a perfect shed. A message to anybody out there who is extremely good with Royal Pythons. If you've got any tips, stick it in the comment section down below. Anybody reading this who is looking for advice, they'll go down in the comment section, have a read through, and they might be able to pick up tips that I didn't mention in this video. We're all a big community here. Let's stick to that. And number 3, this is a big one. You need to have the space for your animal to stretch out. Sometimes they don't need to stretch out, but it makes it so much more easier for them. If you've got a very active Royal Python, just like we have here, now Nessie here has an awful lot of enrichment within her enclosure, an absolute amazing amount of enrichment, and she's always out and about. She's not your typical, what you'd call a pet rock. That's what they're called in the pet trade, and that's simply because they just ball up in a corner and stuff like that. If you give them their natural environment, they actually get out, they move, they do stuff. If you've got the space for them to move and loads of enrichment, so enrichment is basically anything that replicates, anything for them to do something. Let's face it, if you're sat inside your home and just the 4 walls, a telly, you just sat there, even when you've got a telly and a sofa and loads of bits around you, you still sit there all day going, Why do you want to put your animals through that? So we've got loads of enrichment, whether it be branches, hides, burrowing areas, different textures. So one side's got slightly moist one side's a bit drier, one side's firm, one side's rocky, all that sort of stuff. You can add so much more enrichment, and it will bring out the natural behaviours within the actual animal, the way they would behave in the wild, and you'll have an extremely mobile animal. She's 9 years old and she is nowhere near a pet rock. She's always out and about, stretching around. If you've got an enclosure big enough, they'll have the stretch space, they'll be able to stretch around, they'll be able to move around, and they'll be able to show their natural behaviours. If they can do that, then the chances are they'll shed absolutely perfect. Now from me and Nessie, we bid you farewell. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. She's just out of shed. Look how beautiful she is. Look at these little alien faces.